1 month after what the galaxy now called the 7-Hour War, Ambassador Jewry Park stood in the great meeting hall of the Galactic Council. The room had changed. The raised platform where High Minister Vale once stood was gone. Now all seats were on the same level. "This meeting of the new Galactic Council is now open," Park announced. Around her sat representatives from all 27 former council species, plus 15 former probationary species who now had equal votes. "Our first order of business is to approve the new Charter of Rights," Park continued. "All species, regardless of technology level or evolutionary path, will have equal standing in galactic affairs." The vote was unanimous. Many former council leaders had been removed from power by their own people, who had watched humans stand up to bullies and win. After the meeting, Dr. Hyun-Ki Lee met with scientists from across the galaxy. They gathered in a new building called the Galactic Biological Exchange. "For too long, the Council ignored biological differences between our species," Dr. Lee told them. "They assumed their evolutionary path was superior. Now we can learn from each other's unique traits." A scientist from a former probationary world spoke up. "Humans have shown us that different evolutionary paths have different strengths. The old council saw only technology. They missed what was right in front of them." On the rebuilt Nexus Station, Colonel Sang Ho Kang, now Admiral Kang, trained the first units of the new Galactic Defense Force. Teams mixed council technology with human tactics. Species that once looked down on humans now worked to learn from them. "The key is adaptation," Kang told his mixed species officers. "Council ships had better weapons but no backup plans. Human ships had 3 or 4 ways to complete each mission. That's what we'll teach here." In a quiet meeting room, General Min Jo Choi sat with former High Minister Vale. The blue-skinned alien looked tired. His species had led the council for 1,000 years. Now they were just one voice among many. "I still don't understand how you defeated us," Vale said. "Our tactical computers predicted an easy victory." "That's because your computers only understood technology," Choi replied. "They couldn't measure determination or adaptability. They couldn't calculate what happens when humans face extinction." "And what happens?" Vale asked. "We refuse to accept it," Choi said simply. "It's built into us from millions of years of evolution. Giving up was never an option." Later that day, Ambassador Park walked with Dr. Lee through Earth's garden on Nexus Station. Plants from humanity's homeworld now grew alongside plants from 100 other worlds. "Do you think it will last?" Lee asked. "This new peace?" Park looked out at the stars. "I think it will." The galaxy learned an important lesson. Evolution takes many paths. Technology isn't everything. And bullies eventually meet someone who won't back down. "And humans, what's our role now?" Park smiled. "The same role apex predators always played on Earth: maintaining balance, protecting the ecosystem, making sure no one species dominates all others." Across the galaxy, the story spread of how humans, newcomers with primitive technology, had stood up to the Galactic Council and won. How a species from a death world had used the very traits that world had given them to defeat enemies with far superior technology. But the most important story wasn't about the fight. It was about what came after. Humans could have taken control of the galaxy. Instead, they created true equality between species. In the heart of what was once council space, a new monument stood. It showed an Earth wolf standing guard over a field of diverse alien plants. The plaque read, "Predators evolved not to dominate, but to protect balance. Earth sends its guardians to the stars." Ambassador Park stood before the monument with General Choi at the dedication ceremony. "They thought evolution had moved beyond the need for predators," Choi said quietly. "They never considered that predators evolved too." "Into what?" a young alien asked, overhearing. Park smiled at the child. "Into protectors. That's the final stage of any apex predator's evolution. Not to rule, but to guard. That's humanity's gift to the galaxy." The council attack began at dawn. Their ships fired energy beams that disabled Earth's orbital defenses in minutes. Satellites went dark. Space stations lost power. Human ships drifted helpless in space. On his flagship, High Minister Vale smiled. See how easy that was. Now we broadcast our terms again. They will surrender. But Earth did not surrender. Instead, small human ships launched from hidden bases on the Moon and Mars. They were simple vessels, built for speed, not power. The Council ships easily damaged them with their advanced weapons. They're trying to fight back with inferior technology, Vale laughed. How primitive. What he didn't understand was that the human ships weren't trying to win with technology. They were getting close, very close. Colonel Sang-Ho Kang led the first boarding team. Their small ship took heavy damage as it approached a council vessel 3 times its size. Warning lights flashed. Air leaked from a hole in the hull. "We're hit bad, sir," said the pilot. "Can we reach the target?" Kang asked. "Yes, but we might not survive docking." Kang nodded. "Do it." On the council ship, alarms sounded. The crew had never experienced a boarding action before. In their long history of space travel, no species had ever been desperate or aggressive enough to try. "They're attaching to our hull," a council officer shouted. "It's impossible. No crew could survive in a ship that damaged." But humans could. Kang and his team cut through the council ship's hull and entered. They wore simple breathing masks because parts of the ship had lost air. The cold of space reached through their damaged suits, but they kept moving. The council crew was not prepared. They had never trained for fighting inside their own ships. Their weapons were designed for space battles, not close combat. "What are they doing?" Vale demanded as reports came in. "Why aren't they surrendering?" All across the council fleet, the same scene played out. Human ships, even while breaking apart, delivered boarding teams. Humans fought through injuries. They adapted to the alien ship layouts quickly. They moved with purpose that terrified the council crews. 3 hours after the attack began, Colonel Kang's team reached the bridge of a council vessel. The alien captain stared in shock at the humans who entered, still fighting despite wounds that would have killed most species. "How are you still alive?" the captain asked. "We're hard to kill," Kang replied simply. By hour 5, humans had captured 3 council ships intact. By hour 7, they had taken 12, including Vale's flagship. High Minister Vale himself was brought before Ambassador Park and General Choi in Earth's command center. "This is impossible," Vale said, his blue skin pale with shock. "Your technology is inferior." "Technology isn't everything," Park replied. "You should have studied Earth's history more carefully. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We've learned to win even when outmatched." Dr. Lee stepped forward with a datapad. "Your species evolved to avoid conflict, to surrender when faced with superior force. That makes sense for a prey species." "We are not prey," Vale protested. "Compared to humans, you are," General Choi said quietly. "Your ships are beautiful and powerful, but your crews panic under stress. They don't know how to think when plans fail. They can't adapt. And humans can." Vale asked. "It's what we do best," Park said. "We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every day. We survived ice ages and predators and disease. We outlasted everything Earth threw at us." News of the human victory spread across the galaxy in hours. The Council's carefully built image of power shattered. Other probationary species watched in amazement as humans, newcomers to the galactic stage, defeated the bullies who had controlled them for centuries. Vale looked broken. "What will you do now? Destroy the Council?" Park shook her head. "No, we're predators, but we're also builders. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We just won't be ruled." For the first time in 10,000 years, the Galactic Council would need to negotiate as equals. When the 1-week deadline arrived, a massive council fleet appeared in Earth's orbit. 50 ships, each larger than anything humans had built, filled the sky. Their weapons could destroy cities in seconds. High Minister Vale sent a message to Earth. Your time has expired. Surrender now. Instead of surrender, Earth sent back a simple reply. We invite one council representative to witness a demonstration. Then we will give our answer. The council leaders argued for hours. Finally, they sent a minor official named Trell to Earth's surface. No one important wanted to risk going to a planet of predators. General Min Joy Choi met the nervous alien at a remote military base in the mountains. Trell wore a protective suit and carried devices to monitor the air. Is that necessary? General Choi asked, pointing to the suit. Your atmosphere contains too much oxygen, Trell replied, and your gravity is uncomfortably strong. Choi nodded. That's the first part of what you need to understand about humans. We evolved in conditions that most council species would find extreme. He led Trell into a large room with viewing windows. Inside, human soldiers were training. Watch carefully, Choi said. The soldiers lifted weights that made Trell's eyes widen. They ran on treadmills for times that seemed impossible to the alien. One soldier held his breath underwater for over 3 minutes. This is concerning, Trell said. We're just getting started, Choi replied. The next room showed medical treatments. A soldier with a deep cut had it cleaned and bandaged, then returned to training. Another with a broken bone was fitted with a simple cast and kept working with his other limbs. You continue to function while damaged, Trell asked, his voice shaking. We call it working through the pain, Choi explained. All humans can do it. The final demonstration was combat training. Soldiers fought hand to hand, moving with speed and strength that made Trell step back from the window. Others practiced with simple weapons, showing precision that the council's scans had missed. Enough, Trell said finally. I must report to the council. Before you go, General Choi said, there's one more thing you should know. He handed Trell a data pad showing Earth's population. 8 billion humans. And these traits aren't limited to our soldiers. Every human has these capabilities to some degree. Every human can fight if needed. Trell's hands trembled as he took the pad. Your point is clear, General. Is it? Choi asked. Let me be perfectly clear. We decline your offer of protection. We've survived our world for thousands of years. We can survive yours. When Trell returned to the council fleet, he was rushed to High Minister Vale's ship. For over an hour, he reported what he had seen. The council leaders watched the recordings with growing alarm. This changes nothing, Vale said finally. Our technology is still superior. We can attack from orbit where their physical abilities mean nothing. An older council member spoke up. But what if they reach our ships? What if even a few get aboard? Vale dismissed the concern. Impossible. Our shields prevent any unauthorized boarding. On Earth, Ambassador Park met with General Choi. Did it work? She asked. The observer was frightened, Choi replied. But I don't think it will be enough. The council has never faced a serious threat. They don't know how to back down. Then what's our next step? Park asked. Choi looked up at the sky where the council fleet hung like new stars. We let them make the first move, and then we show them why predators ruled Earth for millions of years. In his command room, Colonel Sang-Ho Kang briefed his special forces teams. The council thinks technology always wins, he told them. We're about to teach them a very old lesson. What's that, sir? Asked Officer Hajin. Kang's face was grim but determined. That when facing extinction, every creature reveals its true nature, and humanity's nature was forged in fire. Above Earth, the council fleet began to move into attack position. A red light flashed on Colonel Sang-Ho Kang's desk. Emergency call from Europa mining colony, his assistant said. Kang hit the button to accept the call. A scared face appeared on the screen. We're under attack. Ships we've never seen before. They're taking our... The call cut off. Within an hour, Colonel Kang was in Ambassador Park's office. I need to take a team to Europa, he said. The council says they'll handle it, Park replied. They claim it's pirates, not their responsibility. Those are our people, Kang said firmly. We can reach them before any council team. Park nodded. Go, but be careful. Kang selected 5 of his best security officers. They took a small, fast ship called the Swift Asterisk. The trip to Europa, Jupiter's icy moon, would take 3 days. When they arrived, they found the mining colony dark and damaged. Kang led his team in, weapons ready. Inside, they found empty rooms and signs of struggle. Life signs ahead, whispered Officer Hajin, looking at her scanner. Not human. They moved carefully toward the colony's main storage area. Through a small window in the door, they could see aliens loading containers into their ships. Several humans sat tied up in a corner. Those aren't council species, whispered Officer Do-yoon. Different look. Pirates, like they said. Kang studied the scene. 12 pirates, 6 hostages. We go in quick and quiet. The human team moved like shadows. Years of training on Earth's challenging terrain had made them silent and efficient. They took down 4 pirates before the others noticed. Then chaos erupted. The pirates had advanced weapons that fired energy beams. One hit Officer Jaiho in the arm, burning deep. In most species, such a wound would end the fight. But Jaiho barely flinched. He switched his weapon to his other hand and kept moving. The pirates were shocked. One yelled something in a strange language, backing away from the advancing humans. Officer Hajin took a hit to her leg, but kept firing. Officer Do-yoon was knocked down, but rolled back to his feet in seconds. The humans didn't stop. They didn't retreat. They moved forward despite injuries that should have stopped them. The lead pirate shouted an order, and they began to retreat to their ship. Colonel Kang and his team freed the hostages and secured the stolen materials. The entire fight had lasted less than 10 minutes. What they didn't know was that one of the pirates had recorded the whole thing. 3 days later, back at Nexus Station, Ambassador Park called an emergency meeting. The pirate footage is all over the Galactic networks, she said, showing them a screen. Every species in the council has seen it. The video showed the human security team fighting through injuries, moving with speed and purpose that looked alien to council eyes. Comments scrolled alongside the video. How are they still fighting after those wounds? They don't run from danger. Look at their eyes. No fear. Dr. Lee looked grim. They're starting to see us as we really are. As if to confirm his words, the embassy door chimed. A council scientist stood there, looking nervous. May I speak with you privately? The alien asked. When they were alone, he leaned closer to Ambassador Park. I must warn you. The council made a grave classification error regarding humans. What do you mean? Park asked, although she already knew. Your species was listed as non-predatory omnivores from a Class 3 world, the scientist said. But after analyzing the recent footage, we now believe you are apex predators from a Class 5 death world. The alien's voice dropped to a whisper. The council is afraid. They've never admitted a predator species before. They don't know how to handle you. After the scientist left, Park turned to her team. What does this mean for us? Colonel Kang's face was serious. It means they'll either try to control us more tightly, or eliminate us, Dr. Lee finished. They won't ignore us anymore. A red light flashed on Colonel Sang-ho Kang's desk. Emergency call from Europa mining colony, his assistant said. Kang hit the button to accept the call. A scared face appeared on the screen. We're under attack. Ships we've never seen before. They're taking our... The call cut off. Within an hour, Colonel Kang was in Ambassador Park's office. I need to take a team to Europa, he said. The council says they'll handle it, Park replied. They claim it's pirates, not their responsibility. Those are our people, Kang said firmly. We can reach them before any council team. Park nodded. Go. But be careful. Kang selected 5 of his best security officers. They took a small, fast ship called the Swift Asterisk. The trip to Europa, Jupiter's icy moon would take 3 days. When they arrived, they found the mining colony dark and damaged. Kang led his team in, weapons ready. Inside, they found empty rooms and signs of struggle. "Life signs ahead," whispered Officer Hajin, looking at her scanner. "Not human." They moved carefully toward the colony's main storage area. Through a small window in the door, they could see aliens loading containers into their ships. Several humans sat tied up in a corner. "Those aren't council species," whispered Officer Do-yoon. "Different look. Pirates, like they said." Kang studied the scene. 12 pirates, 6 hostages. "We go in quick and quiet." The human team moved like shadows. Years of training on Earth's challenging terrain had made them silent and efficient. They took down 4 pirates before the others noticed. Then chaos erupted. The pirates had advanced weapons that fired energy beams. One hit Officer Jaiho in the arm, burning deep. In most species, such a wound would end the fight. But Jaiho barely flinched. He switched his weapon to his other hand and kept moving. The pirates were shocked. One yelled something in a strange language, backing away from the advancing humans. Officer Hajin took a hit to her leg, but kept firing. Officer Do-yoon was knocked down but rolled back to his feet in seconds. The humans didn't stop. They didn't retreat. They moved forward despite injuries that should have stopped them. The lead pirate shouted an order, and they began to retreat to their ship. Colonel Kang and his team freed the hostages and secured the stolen materials. The entire fight had lasted less than 10 minutes. What they didn't know was that one of the pirates had recorded the whole thing. 3 days later, back at Nexus Station, Ambassador Park called an emergency meeting. "The pirate footage is all over the Galactic networks," she said, showing them a screen. "Every species in the Council has seen it." The video showed the human security team fighting through injuries, moving with speed and purpose that looked alien to Council eyes. Comments scrolled alongside the video. "How are they still fighting after those wounds? They don't run from danger. Look at their eyes. No fear." Dr. Lee looked grim. "They're starting to see us as we really are." As if to confirm his words, the embassy door chimed. A council scientist stood there, looking nervous. "May I speak with you privately?" the alien asked. When they were alone, he leaned closer to Ambassador Park. "I must warn you. The council made a grave classification error regarding humans." "What do you mean?" Park asked, although she already knew. "Your species was listed as non-predatory omnivores from a Class 3 world," the scientist said. "But after analyzing the recent footage, we now believe you are apex predators from a Class 5 death world." The alien's voice dropped to a whisper. "The Council is afraid. They've never admitted a predator species before. They don't know how to handle you." After the scientist left, Park turned to her team. "What does this mean for us?" Colonel Kang's face was serious. "It means they'll either try to control us more tightly or eliminate us," Dr. Lee finished. "They won't ignore us anymore." Dr. Hyun-Ki Lee sat in his small lab on Nexus Station. For weeks, he had studied the biological data the Council had shared about its member species. Now, at last, he saw a pattern. "Computer, show me the evolutionary paths of all Council races," he said. Charts appeared on his screen. Dr. Lee leaned forward, his eyes wide. "Now compare to human evolution." A new chart appeared. Unlike the others, the human chart showed a very different path. Dr. Lee called Ambassador Park and Colonel Kang to his lab. When they arrived, he could hardly contain his excitement. "I know why they treat us like we're weak," he said, "and why they're wrong." He pointed to the charts. Most Council species evolved on worlds with few predators. They developed big brains because they didn't need to run or fight. They learned to work together and build things. "And humans?" Ambassador Park asked. "We evolved on what they call a death world," Dr. Lee explained. "Earth has more predators, more dangers, and harsher conditions than most inhabited planets. To survive, we became predators ourselves." Colonel Kang nodded slowly. That explains why they seem so physically weak. More than weak, Dr. Lee said. They never developed our stress responses. They can't handle pain, fear, or physical challenges the way we can. They have no idea what humans are capable of, Park realized. Dr. Lee nodded. In their records, humans are classified as non-predatory omnivores. They think we're like the plant eaters they're used to dealing with. But we're not, said Colonel Kang. No, Dr. Lee agreed. We're apex predators. We evolved to hunt, to endure, to overcome. And they have no concept of what that means. That evening, the human team attended a diplomatic reception. They watched the council species with new eyes. The aliens moved carefully, avoiding physical contact. They ate only soft foods and drank only mild drinks. Look at how they react when a server drops a tray, Colonel Kang whispered. Across the room, several aliens had jumped at the loud noise. Some had moved away quickly, their large eyes wide with alarm. Prey response, Dr. Lee said quietly. They evolved to flee from sudden noises and movements. As they talked, a maintenance robot malfunctioned, spinning wildly and knocking over a table. The room erupted in panic. Council aliens rushed for the exits, some freezing in place, others calling for security. Without thinking, Colonel Kang walked straight to the robot, dodged its spinning arms, and shut it down. The room fell silent as the aliens stared at him. How did you do that? Asked a tall blue alien. That unit could have injured you. Kang shrugged. I saw the pattern in its movement and stepped in when there was an opening. You moved toward danger, the alien said, sounding confused. Why would you do that? On the way back to the embassy, Ambassador Park was quiet. Finally, she said, we need to be careful with this knowledge. If they learn what we really are, they might see us as a threat. I think it's too late, Dr. Lee said. Look. He showed them his tablet. A news feed was playing footage from the reception. It showed Colonel Kang stopping the robot, moving with a speed and precision none of the council species possessed. The headline read, Human displays unusual behavior. Council scientists concerned. They're starting to notice, Dr. Lee said, but they still don't understand what they're seeing. And what are they seeing? Ambassador Park asked. Dr. Lee looked at her seriously. They're seeing an apex predator among prey. They just don't know it yet. 6 months had passed since first contact. Earth now had an embassy on Nexus Station, the huge space city where the Galactic Council met. Ambassador Jewry Park and her team worked from a small set of rooms far from the station's center. They've put us in the back corner again, said Colonel Sang-Ho Kang, the embassy's security chief. He was a tall man with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Ambassador Park nodded as she read a new message from Earth. They've done more than that. Look at this. Colonel Kang read the screen and frowned. Protection taxes. Earth never agreed to this. The Council says all probationary worlds must pay, Park explained. They've also demanded access to our platinum mines in the asteroid belt. Dr. Hyun-Ki Lee walked in, looking tired. He had spent weeks studying the data the Council had shared about other species. It gets worse, he said. I've been talking with representatives from other probationary worlds. This is a pattern. They gathered around a table as Dr. Lee explained what he had learned. The Galactic Council had dozens of probationary species. Most had been in that status for hundreds of years. They provided resources, paid taxes, and followed rules, but never gained full rights. They're not looking for equals, Dr. Lee said. They want servants. Later that day, Ambassador Park requested a meeting with High Minister Vale. She waited 3 hours in an empty room before a junior official arrived instead. High Minister Vale is very busy, the thin blue alien said. I will hear Earth's concerns. Park kept her voice calm. Earth cannot pay these new taxes, and we do not understand why Council ships are entering our asteroid belt without permission. The alien's large purple eyes blinked slowly. Perhaps you do not understand your position. Earth is lucky to have our protection. Many dangerous species exist in the galaxy. Without us, you would be, how do you say it, easy prey. Is that a threat? Park asked. The alien smiled. Just a fact. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are weak. Your planet is rich in resources others would take. We offer a fair exchange. Your minerals for our protection. Back at the embassy, Hark told her team what happened. Colonel Kang's face grew dark with anger. I've been watching their security forces, he said. They have advanced weapons, but they train very little. And I've never seen one of them in a real fight. They rely on technology, not physical strength, Dr. Lee added. In fact, most council species seem to avoid any kind of physical strain. Yesterday, I saw 3 of them use a gravity lift to go up just 1 floor. Ambassador Park looked out the window at the massive space station. They think we're weak because our technology is less advanced. But humans have other strengths. As if to prove her point, an alarm suddenly rang through the station. A voice announced that life support was failing in Sector 12, where the human embassy was located. Council aliens panicked, rushing for emergency shuttles, but Colonel Kang calmly led the human team to fix the problem themselves. Within 15 minutes, they had restored airflow. When it was over, a council engineer stared at the humans in surprise. You didn't even wear breathing masks, he said. We can hold our breath for a long time, Colonel Kang said simply. The alien looked confused. But why would you ever need to do that? As the alien left, Dr. Lee turned to Ambassador Park. I think I'm starting to understand something important about the council, he said. They don't know what humans really are. And what are we? Park asked. Something they've never faced before, Dr. Lee replied. But I need more data to be sure. The year was 2137. Humans had built homes on Mars and mined rocks in space. Captain Taiwan Kim stood on the bridge of his ship, the Horizon *. He looked at the main screen with narrow eyes. Sir, we have a strange reading, said his sensor officer. Something is coming toward Earth very fast. Faster than anything we've ever seen. Captain Kim leaned forward. Show me. The screen changed to show a bright dot moving against the black of space. It moved in ways that broke the laws of physics as humans knew them. Send a message to Earth Command, ordered Kim. And ready all systems. Before they could act, the dot grew larger. In seconds, it turned into a massive ship. It was smooth and silver, looking more like art than a space vessel. It was 5 times the size of the Horizon *. They're sending a message, sir, the communications officer said, in perfect English. The voice that came through was smooth and musical. Greetings, people of Earth. We are representatives of the Galactic Council, a union of 27 spacefaring species. We come in peace to welcome you to the greater community of the stars. 3 days later, Ambassador Jewry Park stood in a meeting room at the United Earth headquarters. She was chosen to speak for all humans. Next to her stood Dr. Hyun Lee, the top expert on possible alien life. Remember, said the United Earth president, this is the most important meeting in human history. We must appear strong but friendly. The doors opened. 3 aliens walked in. They looked almost like humans, but were taller and thinner. Their skin had a slight blue tint. Their eyes were large and had no white parts, just pools of deep purple. They wore flowing robes that seemed to change color with every step. I am High Minister Vale, said the middle alien. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I greet Earth. Ambassador Park bowed slightly. We are honored by your visit. We have many questions. High Minister Vale smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Of course. Your species is young. The universe is full of wonders you cannot yet imagine. Dr. Lee noticed something in the alien's tone. It was the way an adult might speak to a child. He kept quiet but made a mental note. For hours, they talked. The aliens explained the council, a group that had existed for over 10,000 years. They spoke of amazing technology, hundreds of worlds, and trade routes across the stars. We offer Earth probationary membership. Vale finally said, "This is a great honor for such a new species." "What does probationary mean?" Ambassador Park asked. "Just a few small rules," Vale said with a wave of his long-fingered hand. "Limits on how far you can expand. Oversight of your military development. Access to some of your resources. Small things, really." Dr. Lee frowned. These didn't sound like small things. "We will need time to consider this offer," Ambassador Park said carefully. "Of course," Vale said, standing. "But don't take too long. The universe is a dangerous place for unprotected worlds." After the aliens left, Dr. Lee turned to Ambassador Park. "Did that sound like a threat to you?" Park nodded slowly. "It did. But why would they threaten us? Their technology is clearly far beyond ours." "I don't know," Lee said, "but I think we just met the neighborhood bullies." What neither of them knew was that humans had something the aliens couldn't understand, something that would soon change everything in the galaxy.